pleased that everyone is here. And as we do at the beginning, we just let everybody introduce themselves briefly and say what they're working on that's valuable to them and how they're using their values and how we could possibly enhance that with things that are happening in AI at the moment. And there's so much happening, so I'm sure we have lots of things to talk about. So Tiz, you came in first. Would you like to start?
Yikes. Okay, I'm going to throw it into a rabbit hole of some sort. To be perfectly frank, my focus these last little bit is catching up on 2024 and getting things ready to submit my taxes. So that is a painful thing that I procrastinate on for an entire year, and then I do it when it needs to get done. So that's where I'm focused. I have not used, oh, I have used AI for to search some silly little things like it doesn't matter, but some silly little things related to my taxes. And otherwise, I've just noticed that I tend to no longer Google search. I will go in and ask AI. I feel it does a better job of pulling things together for me from various places and gives me a more it actually gives me an answer as if I was speaking to somebody who had the information I was looking for. So um, that's all I've got to offer at this point.
That's absolutely wonderful. Nobody's mentioned taxes the whole day today, so you're the first. Congratulations. Yeah. Bringing something new into the conversation. We always love that. Donna, what would you like to add to the conversation?
You must be in the United States because April 15th is that lucky day, and April 16th is usually when all the tax professionals go out for a happy hour somewhere. Are you in
Actually,
the US?
I'm in Canada,
Oh,
and
Canada.
ours is April 30th. So we have
Oh, okay. All
yeah.
right. Well, we have businesses due March 15th and personals due April 15th. That's the way it's structured here.
Uh,
But anywho, I live in Pennsylvania, about 75 minutes west of Philadelphia. I am an executive leadership and small business consultant. I was working with a group of people in an event, and one of the women, she's a seasoned professional, she suggested Claude over ChatGTP because she felt she was in the more the marketing and recruiting arena. Um, it was more personable because I did try ChatGPT once, and the verbiage that came back was sort of, now I didn't guide it in any way, and it didn't know anything about me, but it was generic feeling. Whereas Claude, there's times I have to really remind myself that it's not a real person because it is, the more I use it, the obvious is happening, the more it gives me what I want and the less revisions I need to do. Um, I hear you about not using Google as much because I'm in a weekly mastermind group, and I'm lucky because the people in it are superstars, and so it's a great stretch. Um, and I just got this master GTB prompt thing, and so yeah, you can be super specific in a lengthy way. You don't have to be brief. Which, if you did that with a person, they'd be perplexed, right? Because you lose them after the first sentence or two. So that is really interesting to know how you can build on um, to the detail of what you want to use. Um, However, I understand Claude is also going to be introducing a certain aspect of data where it's going to be able to pull data in so it can do like more data analysis. So right now it doesn't reach out, the free version anyway, doesn't reach out to the internet, but I believe the paid version is reaching out to the internet, which ChatGTP does reach out. So it felt like a safe place for me initially to start because it was contained. I was concerned about plagiarism because I wouldn't know if it pulled exactly from somebody else's verbatim. And if you put it on a public platform like LinkedIn or Alignable or something like that, where it's exposed, I didn't want to violate anybody else's intellectual property. But that's my only ongoing concern. But I actually asked Claude, and it told me that it only used information tailored for me. So I have to some degree trust it, which was a weird sensation too, trusting an artificial intelligence. But there's other tech tools available, and honestly, I'm not sure what they are, hence that's why I'm here, or what feels best for me and the work that I do and the people I work with. So that's what my driving force of being here is to understand. There's so many of them. I mean, ChatGPT was like the monopoly on the market. I also use, because I'm a coach, I use Goldsmith, Marshall Goldsmith. He actually put all of his work onto charlesgoldsmith.ai, and he offers it free to coaches that are ICF credentialed, which I am. So, because he's in his 70s and it's his way of creating a legacy. So, if there's something more leadership related, that's a contained unit. So, I started using that before I used Claude. So, that kind of was baby steps into it. So, that's kind of my history with AI. But oh my God, it's mind boggling. It's absolutely mind boggling what to pick, what works best. And the next thing is how do they integrate with each other? Because when you build a website and you have these plugins or you're able to integrate your CRM with it, it's going to be interesting to see how they create packages of AI tools to see how they integrate in the event they all do something different. I guess that might be on the horizon someday, hypothetically. That's my story and I'm sticking to it.
Wonderful.
Okay.
That's not only hypothetical. I will let Charles speak, and while he's doing that, I will pull up the thing you just talked about because it already exists.
Does?
Yes. I just need to find the name. Charles, you go ahead while I'm
Okay,
searching.
okay,
Thank you
well,
very
you do.
much.
Yeah, I'm, for the record, I'm Charles Fowler, and I'm the Global Coordinator of World Values Day, which is sort of the capacity I'm here today in, because Rhonda sort of and I cooked this idea. Well, it was her idea, but we collaborated in going ahead with a whole series of year-long monthly sessions like this, which has been great so far, because it's been great for me because I've been learning so much. And from a more or less standing start, I've been getting stuck into various AI tools, other than ChatGPT, which I had a little look at last year for the first time during the year. So I'm interested in all sorts of things that can help me, do what I do better, which is not just World Values Day, but various other values-related organizations. And it's amazing how much it's begun to help. As soon as one sort of embarks on the journey and starts, trying to produce plans or, text or papers or, whatever. Wow, it just saves so much time. So, and time that I should be probably spending doing my tax return or something else, which hopefully there'll be an AI tool for. So I have exactly the same sentiment towards tax returns as you do. I just put them off, and it's always a nightmare. But it's a nightmare compressed into a few days. Then I finished. I think, my goodness, why didn't I do that before? It's really not so hard, but it's emotionally hard. It's not really hard in any other way. That's really it. So what I'm looking for is, I've been in the sessions with Rhonda earlier today, and we've been talking about interesting things, but I won't mention because something fresh will probably come up that we'll want to talk about today. So we've sort of explored the things I've been immediately interested in already, I think. Rhonda, back to you.
Okay, thank you. So yes, and ladies, are you both inside the Copolium group? Because then you can go in and first of all see the videos of the other two sessions for today. You'll be getting an email tomorrow if you haven't signed up yet, where you'll be able to sign up. But you also have inside there now, and I'll show you that in a minute, we've set up a database. So everything we've ever talked about here, you can go in and search for it. But let me show you, because we were talking about what is there that can do all kinds of things in one place. And let me just show you this nice little wonderful thing that you'll be able to use if you like. I haven't signed up for it yet, but it's on my schedule for this week. It's called magi.co. And look at what it's calling itself, the all-in-one AI platform. And from what I can tell, and I was watching a podcast where somebody was interviewing the gentleman who actually puts all of this together and has set this up. It gives you access to all of these in one place. Meaning when you were saying something, Don, about how do they work together, this is nice because you have 4 of the 5 big, well, 4 of the 6 big things that you have for large language models here. And then you have things like Leonardo and DALL-E for images. And then you have things like Stable Diffusion, which also do videos and things. So you got that in one place. And it lets you set up folders, because that's what this gentleman, when I heard him in the interview, said, I hate this because I can't find anything afterwards. And you see it's allowing you to choose from all of these models. So it's more than just the ones that are listed here on the side. You can create folders and you can put in a link, and Magi takes charge of what's happening there. You can store your prompts, and your history is still included in here, even if it gets lost somewhere else, which he said was something people were asking for, because if you've put something in and it doesn't work, then it's no longer there. And so this stores everything. And therefore, as I said, I haven't had any personal experience with it yet, but I do know that the gentleman who was interviewing him was absolutely fantastically, was saying this was wonderful. And you can work with other people together as a team. So if you're looking to do something not just by yourself, I do this with Notebook LM with my team because it's a Google thing, but this is also in a way, and it says have your team collaborate in real time in the same chat. So as I said, haven't used it yet, but it comes highly recommended from someone that I trust. So that's all I can tell you at the moment. But these are the images that it's producing with all of these various image producing things. And it says you don't need to do prompt engineering because it's helping you do that. And this is giving you an overview of what you get for $19 a month, including
Does it explain what each of these actually, I mean, can you click on them and it explains what they do specifically?
I
mean, all of these different
know.
AI tools.
Well, this list isn't clickable, so let's just
Okay.
see if there's anywhere where there's a clickable list.
Or is there, that's question number 1. Question number 2 is, can you search for a tool that does something specific and it'll suggest?
Probably yes, but as I said, I don't know. This is the gentleman who started this and whom I saw in the interview. As I said, wonderful. And here's the FAQs. Okay, so 16 large language models and 5 AI images.
That's presumably all the free versions of those.
At this moment, it's all the free versions, but you get them all in one place, and you pay $19 a month for 21 different versions.
Yeah.
As opposed to paying 20, 50, whatever dollars a month for each of those other things, depending on what you're doing.
Well, I like that it's all in one place too.
Yeah.
I know Claude does give me some degree of history. I really haven't looked to see how far
Yeah.
back it goes, but so that if I want to pick up where I left off, that's really nice.
But as I said, what I really like about this is you've already got custom personas in here, which is like your own ChatGPT, which a lot of people talk about. But there are a lot of things in here that aren't happening in other places. And he really just sat down and listened to people and said, what is it that you need? And it was just trying to integrate all these things, because he didn't come up with his own model. He came up with this packaging, if you will, because all the models already exist somewhere else. And he's just put them all together.
And I'm sure he'll add to it as time goes by.
Yes. So, as I said, I can't give you firsthand information, but something to check into. I will
Thank you for that. Yeah, I will check it
Okay.
out.
Yeah, and we'll see. And it will be included as of tomorrow when I finish all of the in things. This is our group in Compolium. If you haven't had a chance to join yet, the invitation will be there tomorrow. And you can see, besides the fact that I put in each of the videos, so tomorrow there will be 3 new videos. These are the ones from March. And in each one, I also add, if there were additional insights, I actually put in some text with the links of the things that we looked at, just so you can go in and see. But if you don't want to go through each individual one of these, sorry, I need to move back to this. My team and I have set up a database for materials and a database for the people who are here. So if you would like to find out everything we've ever talked about, or if you would like to add something that you found that you think other people would be interested in, this is the place to see everything we have so far. And when you go into this database, you can search by names if you know what the name is, or you can search by categories. So these are productivity, these are image, these are videos with resources, with things. These are websites that give various kinds of resources. And these are tools to do text, things with text like Claude, like all kinds of different tools. And these are tools to do video. And every
It's
time
categorized that way.
categorized that way. So every time when we've done a Wednesday like today, we go in and I add all of these things so that if you didn't get to see them in the thing and you want to come in and search, we don't have so many yet because we only talk about the ones that we actually talk about in our monthly sessions. But you can see everything we've talked about here and have a link to it. And for example, if you're interested in what Claude is doing, this is a wonderful video and it's about values and it's from the AI employees that created Claude.
Oh, wow.
This is a wonderful video that you can use as a resource. So as I said,
Okay.
all the resources are listed in here. Marshall's bot is listed in here. Lots and lots of things are listed in here. So you could just go in and check on things that you're interested in. Okay, does that help?
Yeah, fabulous.
Wonderful.
This is only my second time. I missed last month. So I have to go back through your email and see where,
You'll
what
be
I'm
getting a
supposed to
new
do.
email tomorrow, so you don't have to
Okay.
worry, because
All
every
right.
time after we've had things, I send out to people who were here, plus people who maybe registered but couldn't come, so they get access. And as I said, if you haven't joined Compolium yet, there's always a link to join, and then you will go in and have access to all of these resources as well.
Great. Thank you, Rhonda. I appreciate you taking care of that.
Yeah, wonderful.
Hmm.
And Tiz, I'm sorry, I haven't had anything on taxes yet. It's the first time anybody's mentioned that, so there's no resource for taxes, but yeah.
Yeah,
No
that's why
problem.
I use a tax professional for the very things that you folks just said for a
Yes.
couple of reasons. One is here in the States, their fee is an additional deduction.
Mhm.
And I don't believe in having a roofer fix my toilet. So I don't want to do something that I don't do 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. My guy has taken care of me for more than 20 years and he's up in age and I'm like shaking, not my knees are knocking that I'm going to have to figure out who I can replace him with someday because that's going to come whether I like it or not. But yeah, I don't venture into that arena. I give him all the preparation and then he takes it from there. I've actually gotten some family members into that, and they do sometimes here in the States a 3-year look back, and they've gotten a few $1,000s back because they didn't realize what was a legit deduction that they could have taken, which more than makes up for whatever fee he or another CPA might have charged, or public accountant as well. But anyway, that's just me. But yes, it is a stressful time gathering everything. But there's no way in this lifetime that it's too complicated. My brain just doesn't want to do that.
But Tiz, I assume if you wanted to go and find out things, Perplexity would actually give you the sources from the Canadian system, whatever those things are called. If you said, I'm a Canadian citizen, I'm looking for information on such and such, it would give you references. Perplexity would give you references to Canadian public websites
Yeah.
that you'd be able to use to check on things, I'm sure, because Perplexity does a wonderful job giving you the sources. So you could actually go in and look at what the government says and not just what the AI says,
Right.
which is
Um,
important.
full,
Yeah.
full disclosure, though, what I'm talking about is actually just pulling all that prep together because
Okay.
I am a CPA, but about 4 or 5 years ago, I did decide I am not doing these anymore for myself or anybody. So I do give it to someone else. It's just the preparatory stuff. And so I don't actually need to go even look for a lot of research. I
Oh,
did
okay.
use AI because we have this thing called GST that we need to submit as business owners. And I, for some reason, have been locked out of my online account. So
Oh,
instead of trying to navigate the Government of Canada's site through Google, etc., I just went to AI and said, here's my problem, what's going on, what's my way around it? And it gave me options. So
good.
that was
Oh,
kind of
wow.
cool.
Yeah,
Excellent.
that relieved the headache temporarily.
Mhm.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
Now I have a client who's a CPA and works for a large sport organization. And so she's dealing with all of their money, so to speak. She's CFO. However, again, I said to her, why don't you have your company's CPA take a look at your personal taxes just in case you missed anything? She goes, wow, that's a great idea. She left a company where it was an accounting organization 5 years ago to take this position. But yeah, it's like IT. Doesn't take long to fall behind if you're not actively in it.
Yeah.
So good for you, Tiz.
Yeah. Yeah.
Folks should all be fortunate that you only have to have one of those people because I have to have a German one and an international one to do my American stuff. So I have two of those nice people taking care of me.
Good.
Oh,
Great.
you earn, oh, that's right. If you earn money outside of the country, that is right.
Yeah. So I get two nice CPAs. One German gentleman here, like an hour away from where I live, where I have to send things monthly to the German system online to him, and then he does everything online. And then after everything's finished from the year before, I send all of my things electronically to Australia because my international CPA is an American expat expert who's Russian, who used to live in Germany and now lives in Australia, and she files my
That's-
taxes in the US.
Holy cow.
Say that 10 times.
Yeah, right.
God.
And that's why I
Oh
never
my-
need to use anything with AI for this because I have this wonderful group of people who takes care of me all the time. So,
Oh my God. Oh my God. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
but I mean, it's we were talking about this in an earlier session today. The fact that you have to sometimes sort of think outside the box. The fact that I can't do all of my taxes myself, only in one country, and then I have a lady who's an American expat expert, although she's not American. But she has an office in New York with a partner, and she files all my things for me from Australia. But the whole point is, when I say that to people and they say, but Rhonda, I would have never thought of that. That's a lot with what's happening with AI at the moment. We sit down and we think of the way we've always done things, and then all of a sudden somebody comes up and says, but you could do it this way. And it's like, oh yeah, I never thought of that. So that's the thing that I think keeps me going a lot with AI is that people say something about they're doing this with AI, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's a really good idea. But until
Yeah.
you actually think about it, or someone presents it to you, or asks you about it, you don't always necessarily think. It's a wonderful thinking outside the box exercise for me.
Almost like
It's
it's having
true.
a
Yeah.
consultant, on staff, so to speak.
It's exactly. That reminds me, I'm involved in a mentoring program through our local university here, and these are for it's a mentoring program for entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
And um, one in particular comes to mind because she is this wonderful woman who, actually, I could share this. Donna, I don't know if you have TV time, but she participated in the Spring Baking Challenge down in the States. She's from here in Alberta. And so she's one of the contestants there. And but her entrepreneurial business is creating chocolate. So she makes this gourmet chocolate bars and all that kind of stuff. And so, of course, her exposure in this show is giving her broad exposure into, across at least the US and Canada. I don't know if it's all of North America, but anyway, the point is that her attention is getting up there, her demand is growing, and so she's really kind of firing off questions and has a lot of balls in the air and learning to do international trade and blah blah blah, right? And she fired off a question about I don't know if any of you can help me with this because there's 3 of us mentors for every entrepreneur. But blah, 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 I'm looking for packaging of blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, one of us is a CPA. One of us is the vice president of finance for a bank. The other one, I can't remember what he does. But my point is, we don't know nothing about packaging, right? So the first thing I did was I went on to AI. I happened to use Copilot at that time because it's attached to my Microsoft stuff. And I asked the exact question that she asked us, and I came up with these like 6 or 7 options of literally where she can go get the exact kind of packaging that she was talking about. And I fired it off to her with a response that says, hey, I don't have a clue, but here's what AI told me. And this comes after a couple of meetings of where I've been the one that's brought up, I wonder if that'd be a different question. Would be a cool question to just ask AI, or that she needs to document processes, and there's like automated ways that you can do that as well. So I've been kind of pointing her to these things that I have zero experience with, but sort of said, go ask over there, go look over here. And so here was this other one with the chocolate packaging, the packaging for chocolate. And she was like, oh my God. First of all, there was something on there she hadn't even thought of in terms of packaging, but also how do you ship something like chocolate that's not forgiving and super cold, super hot temperature and stuff like that. She goes, oh my God, I totally forgot about that, or I never thought of this. And at the same time, she's going, I see what you're doing. You're trying to get my mindset to thinking that there might be some fast and easy answers that give me ideas where I don't need to panic and I don't need to, throw out random questions to audiences that wouldn't have a clue, but that there's tools. So that your comment reminded me of that, and how the shifting, right? When you're not used to that, when your hands are all when you're up to your elbows in chocolate, you're not thinking AI. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So
You just
anyway,
made me drool, Tiz, because I'm a chocoholic. It's like cocaine to a drug addict with me. So I'm thinking about this poor thing. However, I have to throw one more wrench in there. My other half was a purchasing for a food company for a number of years, and it might pay her to find a mentor in the food manufacturing industry that might have global reach and to learn some of the nuances, because he used to buy a variety of things, and bottles and boxes were part of the inventory, for that. And and there also might be a way, now that she has more of a global reach, that she doesn't do grocery store shopping type approach where she creates contracts and arrests costs of things. Like, I don't know if you're paying attention to the news here, but eggs have skyrocketed because of bird flu. But if you have a contract, then you at least can lock in your price, because some of the smaller, because I've had colleagues in my local area that make confectionery items, and matter of fact, one of my first clients was a family-owned ice creams company, and they just bought things on demand. Oh, we need cream, so call the vendor and buy it. versus creating like a 6-month or annual contract where you like the price. So that would
Yeah.
be my suggestion to her as she's growing, because there's nothing worse than growing and seeing all these gross receipts coming in and then reconciling all with your expenses and sweating bullets, all this work, and then seeing parentheses under the number
Yeah.
because you didn't make any money.
Yeah.
So that would be, learn how to purchase well and align yourself with a food company that services outside of Canada. One of my clients' husband has is the COO of a high-end gourmet food company, and as a gift for doing a consult with him, he sent me highly perishable foods, but they were loaded with these cold packs that didn't thaw. If it's scallops, you can't afford to have that thaw before it reaches. So, yeah, there's, and she's got to factor all that into her pricing too, right? It's not just the paper, it's with the shipping, how does she preserve it? You're right, because chocolate gets that bloom. And although it's okay, once it hardens again, it doesn't look as cosmetically perfect anymore. And people go, oh, something's wrong with it. I don't want to eat it. And then she's doing refunds and all that hard stuff.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing. I wish her luck. I'm excited for her. What's her company? I'm just curious. Is that okay to
Compass.
share?
Compass
Compass?
chocolate. Yeah, Compass.
Chocolate. I'm going to look her up. And like I said, I'm drooling already.
Wonderful.
So anyway, I digress.
Subjects we've never had: taxes, chocolate, right, Charles? This is that's what we
superb.
love. Charles and I come to this every single time, and it's always different and it's always magnificent. Yeah. So what else can we do for you folks today? I'm being conscious of the time because I think some of you have a lot more of your day in front of you. Some of the rest of us don't. I have one more appointment in half an hour, but is there anything else? Because we set this up originally as a 30-minute call, and I'd like to respect your time. Is there anything else we can do for you ladies today?
Oh, I have one more. One of my clients who's in HR talked about an AI tool she said would be really interesting for coaching because it speaks to how to design your future self. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it, but I want to investigate that because, people can't think in 3D, but sometimes if they put everything together and then it pulls up. So what AI tool specifically for coaching
I'm going
can
to
design
I'm going to share my
future self?
And we're going to look this up together and see how it works. So this is the website that will be able to tell us all those nice things. This is called, there's an AI for that. That's in Compolium already. So tell me again exactly what this is, Donna, and I will type it in the search field and see what we find.
I'm going to call it future self design. I don't really know the name of it. I'll put the words future self in there.
So ask for an AI coaching tool that designs your future self.
Well, I wouldn't ask it for something too specific in this tool, at least, because you see this tool has 33,000 things. And in the search engine for this, the more generic this is, the more options you'll get.
Okay.
Because if it doesn't consider what it's doing a tool, then it won't pull up a tool. So when I search for things in here, I always just write exactly what it is that should come out at the end without giving it any parameters.
Okay.
Because watch what's going to happen. We're going to now click on this to watch it search. And we have no idea if this is what it is, but you're getting a whole list of things. Let me just pull this over for a moment and get rid of this. So it is giving you, these are called featured matches. So this is something someone has paid for, and these are verified. But look at all the different things we're getting. So this is part of ChatGTP, obviously, with the symbol on it. But Future Kid, a dream app, personal AI art generator, Okay, it may not be what it was you were looking for. And, you know, if we don't know the real name, we'll never know whether it was really what you're looking for or not. But the interesting thing I find when I look in this is that you get lots of different things that you also wouldn't have thought of before. And if you don't find it, you can ask and you will see if somebody will be able to do something like that for you. And the
Okay.
other nice thing about this is I started looking at this site about 2 years ago, and it had 13,000 tools, and now it has 33,000 tools.
Oh my
And every
God.
time I go in here, the number's just getting increasingly large. So it doesn't matter how often I go in here, there are always new things that are coming in.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a
Okay.
one, and it's in the Compolium list, so you'll be able to find it, and it'll be in the notes for tomorrow. So
Okay.
the nice thing is you get to go in there and see exactly what that is. And if it's not, then you can go back and change the prompt. So let's say,
Put the word coaching in there.
AI coach.
Okay.
Now we'll see what happens. So this says IX coach.
Margaret Kelsey making a comment. Who, well,
Pardon me?
no, just Margaret, who is a contact in Maine.
Okay.
It's interesting, just seeing a few familiar names.
Okay. So you see,
Yep. Thank you for that.
so this is the place when anybody says to me, I have, you know, where do I look? I have no idea. This is where I go. It certainly doesn't have anything and everything, obviously, and you have to know as much as you can about what it is you're looking for. But the nice thing is, if you find something, it's not exactly it, but you can go and look at that. And then what I always do is alternatives to, you know, in a regular search
Right.
engine, and then see what else you get. So this is another
Thank you,
nice
Rhonda.
tool to use.
Thank you, Rhonda.
Mhm.
I'll have to reach out to her and say if it has a specific name.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it does, but as I said, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's in here. I mean, not everybody's putting everything in here, but when I don't
Right.
have any other place to look, this is where I go first, just to see. Wonderful.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. So,
I've
Alrighty
got
then.
to run.
yes.
Yep, so do I. But thank you for your
Overtime.
time today, ladies and Jen. Appreciate it.
Yeah, lovely to see you both.
Yes, wonderful.
Thank
And
you.
as I said, all the information will go out tomorrow. The video recording, everything will be in Compolium, and I'll be sending you an email when everything's available, so you'll be able to go in and see.
Awesome.
All
Awesome.
right.
Thank you for your effort. Appreciate it. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day and week.
Okay.
And
Take
you.
care.
Bye bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Yes, bye, Donna.